Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavad Pranam to everybody. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hari Bol to His Grace Ramchandra Prabhuji, Pravan Prabhuji, and Aarti Mataji for facilitating the chanting this morning. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatadeshitharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's continue with our prayer of the week from Gitavali by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We are on the series of glorifying the Shikshashtakam verses, which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has composed in multiple songs, glorifying each of the verse of Shikshashtakam. So currently we are on week 3, verse 3 of Shikshashtakam. Anybody would like to try singing today? Okay, I'll continue then. So we are, this is verse 3. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnana amani namanadena kirtaniya sadaharihi. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Shri Krishna Sankirtane Jadi Manas Doha. Shri Krishna Sankirtane Jadi Manas Dohar Parama Jatane Tahi Labho Adhikar. Parama Jatane Tahi Labho Adhikar. Trinadhikahina dina akinchana char apane mano bhi sada chhadi ahankar vriksha samakshama guna koro bhi sadhana pratihim satyaji anye koro bhi palana जीवन निर्वाहे आने उद्वेग न दीबे पर उपकारे निज सुख पसरीबे होइले ओ सर्व गुणे गुणी महाशोय प्रतिष्ठा छाड़ी करो अमनि हृदय Krishna Adhisthana Sarva Jive Jani Sada Koro Bhi Sammana Sabe Adare Sarvada Dainya Doya Anye Mana Pratishtha Varjana Chari Gune Guni Hoya Koro Ho Kirtana भक्ति विनोद कांदी बोले प्रभु पाय हेनो अधिकार कबे दिबे हे आमाय भक्ति विनोद कांदी बोले प्रभु पाय हेनो अधिकार कबे दिबे हे आमाय Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, anybody would like to read the translation in English?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I can.
Hare Krishna, Meenu Mataji, yes, please.
Thank you. If your mind is always absorbed in chanting the glories of Lord Krishna with great care, then by that process of Sri Krishna Kirtana, you will attain transcendental qualification. You should give up all false pride and always consider yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, and more humble than a blade of grass. You should practice forgiveness like that of a tree and giving up violence toward other living beings. You should protect and maintain them. In the course of passing your life, you should never give anxiety to others, but rather do good to them while forgetting about your own happiness. When one has thus become a great soul, possessing all good qualities, one should abandon all desires for fame and honor and make one's heart humble. Knowing that Lord Krishna resides within all living creatures, one should, with great respect, consistently show honor to all beings. By possessing these four qualities humility, mercifulness, respect towards others, and the renunciation of desires for prestige one becomes virtuous. In such a state, you may sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Weeping, Bhaktivinoda submits his prayer at the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, when will you give me the qualification for possessing attributes such as these? Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any reflections, any thoughts on this prayer?
Yes, Prabhuji. Verse number 5, the one that says that one should abandon all desires for fame and honor and make one's heart humble. So, just a little reflection from one of the lectures I heard from Amog Leela Prabhu. This was about when Hanumanji found Sita in Lanka. You know, she asked him at that point, how big are you? Because, she was like, you won't be able to defeat these Vanaras because, they are huge. And he kept on saying, Ram, 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 and keep increasing in size. And then he got so huge and she's like, no, get down. So he goes ram 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 ram, and he becomes smaller again. So she asked him, what is your real size? He says, my size is really small, but because of the mercy of Lord, for his purpose I can take any size I want. And then when he comes back to Kishkinda and tells Ram that he's found Sita, his words were, found Sita, I found Sita, I found Sita, I. And it should be, I found Sita. And Ram's like, what is going on? Calm down and say it nicely. Where's your grammar? You are a Vidwan, right? So he says, what is most important at this point? The message is found. कि मिल गई सीता. मिल गई तो कौन मिली? माँ मिल गई, सीता माँ मिल गई. किसने ढूंढी is the least significance. It has of least importance कि किसको मिली. So that's why I is at the end. So you always have to keep the duties, the seva ahead of everything else and keep yourself in the background. That's the only way to find Krishna. If you keep the I in the front, like I did this, I am that, you will never be able to find Krishna. So that's the reflection from number 5. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So nice. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Yes. Humility is the quality we are reflecting upon, and yes, that is such a, and again, all these qualities we get by the mercy of the Lord's devotees. So this is a very nice pastime that you shared. We hear, when we hear such pastimes, it cleanses our heart, and we understand what true humility means, not just by artificially saying or artificially becoming humble, but actually learning by following in the footsteps of great devotees like Sri Hanumanji. Yes, we have to be in the background. When we are in the background, actually, even at the altar, we can see, when we have a nice background for the Lord, right? So that the background gets even more beautiful because it is in the background of the Lord. So like that, yes. And Prabhupada used to say that as we were reading this chapter 15 yesterday, Prabhupada was referencing again all the great devotees of the Lord, like Prahlad Maharaj, like even Jesus Christ he was referencing yesterday. And Prabhupada says that many times because all of his disciples initially were all American disciples, American bodied disciples, and he says that it doesn't matter, even in Quran, even in Christianity, they talk about chanting the glories of the Lord, even though they may not believe in deity worship. But Prabhupada says many times that even Jesus Christ used to say that the kingdom of God is available for those who are humble and meek. Right? So humility is a very, very important virtue if we have to advance on the path of bhakti. Thank you, Mani Mataji. Wonderful. Okay, let's continue with chapter 15. So we are reading from Teachings of Lord Kapila, currently chapter 15, which is meditation on the transcendental form of the Lord. So let's continue. Yesterday we were reading these glories of the Lord's transcendental form in terms of Archa Vigraha, the different deities that we have. So just as Lord can have multiple names, millions of incarnations, similarly the Lord can come in billions of different forms, whether it be in the form of wood or in the form of clay or in the form of stone or in the form of metal. But we should not think that this is just an idol. That is what the Mayavadis do. But for a devotee, as soon as he sees the form of the Lord, just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, he saw Lord Jagannath, he fainted, oh, here is my Lord. So having darshan of Archa Vigraha itself is very, very purifying, because that's Lord, out of his kindness, he has appeared in the form of the deities. So that was our reflection from yesterday. Let's continue from here. So by remembering, if we can understand Krishna's activities, form, qualities and pastimes in this way, then we become fit to return home back to Godhead. Alright, text 36. Tair darshaniya vayavair udara vilas hase kshitavama shuktai vritatmanohrita pranamscha bhaktir anichhato me gatimanvim prayunkte. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. There are 3 different divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Even the third class devotees are liberated souls. It is explained in this verse that although they do not have knowledge, simply by seeing the beautiful decoration of the deity in the temple, they are absorbed in thought of him and lose all other consciousness. By fixing oneself in Krishna consciousness, engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, one is imperceptibly liberated. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Simply by discharging uncontaminated devotional service as prescribed in the scriptures, one becomes equal to Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman, because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. Because of his forgetfulness of his real nature as an eternal servitor of the Lord, he is overwhelmed and captured by Maya. His forgetfulness of his real constitutional position is Maya. Otherwise, he is eternally Brahman. When one is trained to become conscious of his position, he understands that he is the servitor of the Lord. Brahman refers to a state of self-realization. Even the third-class devotee who is not advanced in the knowledge of the Absolute Truth, but who offers obeisances with great devotion, thinks of the Lord, sees the Lord in the temple, and brings forth flowers and fruits to offer to the deity, becomes imperceptibly liberated. Shraddhayanvitaha. With great devotion, the devotees offer worshipful respects and paraphernalia to the deity. The deities of Radha and Krishna, Lakshmi and Narayan, and Ram and Sita are very attractive to the devotees, so much so that when they see the deity decorated in the temple, they become fully absorbed in thinking of the Lord. That is liberation. In other words, It is confirmed herein that even a third-class devotee is in the transcendental position, above those who are striving for liberation by speculation or other methods. Even great impersonalists like Shukadeva Goswami and the four Kumaras were attracted by the beauty of the deities in the temple, by the decorations, and by the aroma of tulsi offered to the Lord, and they became devotees. Even though they were in the liberated state, instead of remaining impersonalists, they were attracted by the beauty of the Lord and became devotees. Here the word vilasa is very important. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord. It is a prescribed duty in temple worship that not only should one visit the temple to see the deity nicely decorated, but at the same time he should hear the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or some similar literature, which is regularly recited in the temple. In Vrindavan, in every temple, there is recitation of the Shastras. Even third-class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita have the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. In this way, their minds may remain always absorbed in the thought of the Lord, His form, His activities, and His transcendental nature. This state of Krishna consciousness is a liberated stage. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 important processes in discharge of devotional service. Number 1, to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Number 2, to associate with devotees and serve them as far as possible. Number 3, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Number 4, to see the decorated temple and the deity. And if possible, number 5, to live in a place like Vrindavan or Mathura. These 5 items alone can help a devotee achieve the highest perfectional stage. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. That third-class devotees can also imperceptibly achieve liberation is accepted in all the Vedic literatures. As far as meditation on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord is concerned, we have to look at the deity beginning with his lotus feet. It is not that we immediately look at his smiling face. We should first try to see the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. And when we are practiced in this way, we can look at his thighs, his waist, and his chest, and then we can reach his smiling face. In this manner, we should meditate on Krishna's form, and thus we can associate with Krishna by meditating on his smiling face, his flute, his hands, his dress, his consort Srimati Radharani, and the other gopis surrounding him. Thus, we should practice observing the Supreme Lord, and to this end he has appeared before us as the Archa Vigraha. There are 3 kinds of devotees: Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Uttama Adhikari is the most advanced, the Madhyam Adhikari is in the middle stage, and the Kanishta Adhikari is the neophyte. It is recommended that the neophyte meditate on the deity daily. He should begin by meditating on the lotus feet, and then when he is practiced, he should turn his gaze towards Krishna's smiling face. The neophyte should also read and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If we simply try to see and don't listen, the results will not be permanent. In some temples, there are deities, but no discussion about Krishna. People attend for some time, but after a while they lose interest. Thus, there must be 2 activities. The deities must be worshipped, and this is called Pancharatrika Vidhi. And there must also be Bhagavat Vidhi, reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavat Vidhi go hand in hand. By participating in these 2 processes, the neophyte can gradually attain the intermediate stage. The spiritual master is supposed to be in the most advanced stage, but for preaching purposes, he descends to the intermediate stage. The Uttamadhikari, the most advanced devotee, does not discriminate between devotees and non-devotees. He sees everyone but himself as a devotee. The truly advanced devotee sees that he is not a devotee, but that everyone else is a devotee. The Kanishta Adhikari, the neophyte, simply concentrates on the deity, and that is required in the beginning. Archayam eva haraye, pujam ya shraddhaye hate, na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu, sa bhakta prakrita smritaha. A person who is very faithfully engaged in the worship of the deity in the temple, but who does not know how to behave toward devotees or people in general, is called a Prakrita Bhakta or Kanishta Adhikari. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.47. According to the prescribed duties mentioned in the scriptures, one must care for the deity, but when one is a little further advanced, he considers his functions with others. When one attains the Madhyam Adhikari stage, His vision is described thus: Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu vishvatsu cha prema maitri krapopeksha yah karoti samadhyamaha. The Madhyamadhikari is a devotee who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the highest object of love, makes friends with the Lord's devotees, is merciful to the ignorant, and avoids those who are envious by nature. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.46. The Madhyamadhikari is not only interested in the deity, but he can also discern between devotees and non-devotees. He can also understand that this man is innocent and that this man is not. The innocent do not know what is to be done, and they do not know anything about God. They are not actually offenders, but there are others who are offenders. The offenders become immediately envious as soon as they hear about God or his devotees. The Madhyamadhikari knows that Krishna is God. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He wants to develop his love for Krishna. He also wants to see that not a moment is wasted without engagement in Krishna consciousness. He is always careful not to spoil life's valuable time. That is the first qualification of a Madhyamadhikari. We have a very short period to live, and we never know when we are going to die. There is no certainty. Foolish people think that they will go on living forever, but that is simply foolishness. Life is transient. Therefore, the devotee wants to utilize every moment for the advancement of Krishna consciousness. The Madhyamadhikari also has a special taste for chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. He is also very anxious to live in places like Vrindavan, Dwarka and Mathura, places where Krishna lived. Of course, it is a fact that Krishna, being God, has his residence everywhere. He even resides within every atom. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. Nonetheless, he has special places of residences like Vrindavan, Dwarka and Mathura. Therefore, a devotee is anxious to live in those places. Increasing one's love for God is a gradual process, and the first ingredient is faith. Without faith, there is no question of progress in Krishna consciousness. That faith is created after reading Bhagavad Gita carefully and actually understanding it as it is. Unless one reads Bhagavad Gita, there is no question of faith in Krishna. One must have faith in the words of Krishna, particularly when Krishna says, "Abandon all dharmas and surrender to me. I will give you all protection." If we study Bhagavad Gita as a literary treatise and then throw it away, that is not faith. Faith is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami thus: Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahesh Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. By rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. This confident, firm faith, favorable to the discharge of devotional service, is called Shraddha. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.62. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he is not only a person, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. He also says that there is no one superior to him. If one believes these words, then one will have faith. Impersonalists read Bhagavad Gita, but they do not accept Krishna as a person. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the impersonalists take more trouble to come to him. He will come later, but it will take some time. This is because impersonal understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth is partial understanding. As Krishna states, Kleshodhika tarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Bhagavad Gita 12.5. We have often given the example of impersonal understanding being like the understanding of the sunshine. One may see the sunshine entering through a window into his room, but this does not mean that one knows everything about the sun. Impersonal understanding of the Absolute Truth is like that. The sunshine is impersonal, Brahman. The sun itself is localized, Paramatma. And the sun God residing within the sun is a person, Bhagavan. Just as one can understand the three aspects of the sun, the sunshine, the sun itself, and the sun God, one can also understand the three aspects of the Supreme Absolute Truth, which is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Impersonalists maintain that the sun is simply a fiery globe and nothing else. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna specifically states that he spoke Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivaswan. Of course, we can hardly imagine how the sun god can be a person. The sun is a great fiery globe, and we think that it is impossible for anyone to live there. But this thinking is simply short-sighted. It does not follow that no one can live in fire just because we cannot live there. We cannot live in water, yet there are aquatics living there. We live on this planet which is basically composed of earth, and our bodies are basically composed of earth. In order to live here, bodies are made in such a way that they can live in their environment. Similarly, the sun god has a body capable of living in fire. Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha, being knowledge and bliss, with form, Impersonal understanding is understanding of the Sat feature. Understanding Krishna in full is understanding all of his features. The Ananda feature is realized in Bhagavan. Krishna plays on his flute and is accompanied by his plenary potency, Ladini Shakti, Srimati Radharani. Of Krishna's many potencies, the Ladini Shakti is his pleasure-giving potency, that is Ananda. Although Krishna is full in himself, he expands himself when he wants to enjoy. That expansion is his pleasure potency, Radharani. The gopis are the expansions of Radharani, and the various forms of Krishna are manifest just to taste the mellow of transcendental bliss, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Thus, Brahman realization is the realization of the Sat portion, Paramatma realization is the realization of the Chit portion, and Bhagavan realization is the realization of the Ananda portion. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is said that absolute truth is Anandamayo Bhyasat. Krishna's Leela is always full of transcendental bliss, especially in Vrindavan, his original residence. It is in Vrindavan that Krishna plays with his cowherd boyfriends and dances with the gopis. It is also in Vrindavan that Krishna steals Mother Yashoda's butter. All his activities there are filled with transcendental bliss. Hare Krishna. Our goal is to be fully absorbed in this transcendental bliss. Yes, this last statement reminded us yesterday evening we were reading teachings of Queen Kunti, and this is the pastime we were reading. Queen Kunti was saying to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, I cannot imagine how, by you, from whom the fear personified also fears, and how you are fearing from your mother Yashoda Maya, as Mother Yashoda comes to bind the Lord or run behind him, chasing him, the Damodar Leela." So Krishna's mascara, and with his tears, when he's rubbing his eyes beautifully, his mascara is wiped out. But yeah, so that was the pastime we were reading, and yes, yesterday Aarti Mataji was reading that. She was saying, I was remembering the Damodar Leela. So that is the whole point, that as we read, we get more absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord, and those pastimes actually start manifesting in front of our eyes. So that is the power of the holy name, right? So when we read and we chant, then Prabhupada says that, I was sharing yesterday also that once one of Prabhupada's disciples was asking Prabhupada, and I'm chanting, I'm remembering all the pastimes of the Lord, I think that is an offense. And Prabhupada, very lovingly corrects him and says, no, that is the whole point, that when we chant the holy name, you should remember the pastimes of the Lord, and that will start revealing gradually in front of our eyes, slowly and gradually. So yeah, the whole point is about meditating, remembering the transcendental form of the Lord, transcendental qualities, transcendental pastimes, as we chant and as we hear more and more, that will start happening automatically, because it is already there in everybody's heart. It is just covered right now, as Prabhupada says. So as the disappearance and appearance of the sun is always there. It's just that it is disappearing and it is appearing in one part of the world and another part of the world. So similarly, all these transcendental features and transcendental glories of the Lord are already there in each one of us as Satchitananda, and according to our levels of faith, it will get revealed. There's a very nice shlok in Chaitanya Charitamrita which I'm forgetting, but something like something related to Shraddha, that Shraddha is dependent on the levels of faith that the different devotees have, right? As we read today about Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari and Uttam Adhikari. So Shraddha increases, so the faith increases as we gradually progress on the path of bhakti. So the Kanishta Adhikari, as Prabhupada is explaining, they have very low faith and they have very low knowledge, low levels of faith and low level of knowledge. As we go to Madhyama level, then the faith becomes very strong. So there's a very strong faith, but the knowledge level may still be low. We may not be able to fully understand all the injunctions of the Shastras, then that's where we need the help of bona fide spiritual master who can continue to guide us. And then once a devotee reaches to the stage of Uttama, Adhikari, their faith is also very strong and their knowledge is also very strong. So those are the gradations of the three levels based on their levels of faith and the level of knowledge. So kind of both of those things that Prabhupada is talking about, the Pancharatrika Vidhi and the Bhagavad Vidhi. So both are important, and when both of them go in parallel, we are able to make progress from these levels of faith. Okay, all right. Anybody else would like to say anything from today's reading? Any reflections from your remembrance of the Lord through the past week as Parusham Rishu, ability in man? Anything anybody would like to share?
Raj, you said 2 BT, right? Pancharatrika and what else?
Bhagavad Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi is when we hear from Srimad
Oh,
Gita,
okay.
from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm good, bro. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody else would like to say or share anything? Remembrance of the Lord. One thing, funny anecdote I was remembering. It was a couple of days ago while I was driving to work. I think it was not yesterday. Probably it was not work. It was something. I was just driving, and on the way, I saw two cars, and one of the cars said, I think it was Tesla. So it said gas nope. So it was probably electric car. So the nameplate was gas nope, and then I saw another car which said, I'm witch. So I was like, people have so much of talent to come up with all these names for their cars. And I was just remembering that all the ability, because we were talking about Parusham Rishu, the ability in humans, ability in man comes from the Lord. So yeah, people have such talent, but it's just that, as Prabhupada says, we are incorrectly utilizing the talent, for our own sake, or for when we don't know where the talent has to be utilized. So anyway, it's just funny thing. As I was driving, I saw two cars and these funny names, funny number plates, and I was remembering Krishna, that as the ability in man, that we all have abilities, but we're just placing that ability in the wrong place, in the wrong situation, and utilizing it in a wrong way. Okay, all right. So this week today is Wednesday. We'll continue with the next part of the next shloka from Bhagavad Gita, which is 7.9. After the previous verse, where for last 5 weeks, we saw 5 different things. As taste of water, Krishna has the taste of water. Krishna has the light of sun and moon. Krishna has the syllable Om in all the Vedas, in our Vedic hymns. And then it was Shabda-ke, which is Krishna as a sound in either. I don't know about you, but at least for me, yes, for sure, this has helped. So I'm hoping that for all of you also, at least, like I said, even if one time in the whole week you're able to do that, I think that is progress. That is progress towards advancing on the path of bhakti. So, and now anytime I hear, now especially in the evenings and afternoons, the birds, it just such beautiful sounds they make. Every time I'm sitting at my desk, either yesterday when I was at home in the evening, just hearing as soon as the bird chirps, immediately your mind goes to Krishna. Immediately it goes to Shabda-ke. Oh Krishna, you are the sound ether. So for sure it has helped this exercise. So I'm hoping for all of you also it is happening. And if it is not happening, it will happen if you continue to remember the Lord. As I speak, immediately I hear a bird chirping outside. So yeah, Shabda-ke, and then Parusham Rishu, the ability in man. So yeah, as we go through our day-to-day life routine, let's try to remember the Lord through these simple gestures. So the next verse, Bhagavad Gita 7.9, is Punyo Gandha Prithivyam. So Punyo Gandha Prithivyam means that I am the original fragrance in the earth. I think Anandini Gopika Mataji had shared once when it was raining and she was walking and she could smell the fragrance of earth, as she was going to pick up her daughter. So yeah, I think I remember that Mataji, you had shared that. So yeah, so that is the thing. So this week, let's see if we can not only when you say original fragrance and earth, Prabhupada, I think in one of the purports I was reading some time back, he was mentioning that everything, like a flower, for example, flower also comes from earth, right? So when we smell a flower, let's remember that this fragrance is coming from Krishna. So let that be our meditation through this week. All right.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to share. I had a patient I saw yesterday, and her shirt reminded me of Krishna. Of course, it says, if God can light up a bug's butt, then just imagine what he can do for you. About the fireflies. So that was wonderful. So we had a connection with I had a connection with the patient. It was like, oh, that is so nice. So, yeah, just wanted to share. That was nice of her to show that.
Yes, so funny, but yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is also ability.
Yeah.
Krishna has all this ability. So yes, thank you so much for sharing that. Hare Krishna. All right, we'll end with Vaishnav Pranam prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavind ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Kapila ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.